Hello friends, so here we are going to continue the examples of groups. We have already seen different examples of groups in our previous lecture. So in my previous lecture, I gave you the definition of this set UN denoted by UN, and basically UN is a number theoretic function, and the values in UN are they are all the positive integers which are less than n and relatively prime to n. So if I am taking n as 10, then the values in this set U10 will be 1, 3, 7, 9, because these four numbers are they are less than 10 and they are relatively prime to 10. And if I'm taking n is equal to 9, then U9 will be 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. So in this example, we are going to show that U10 is a group under multiplication modulo 10. So U10 has these four elements 1, 3, 7, and now consider this Kelly's table. Here write these elements 1, 3, 7, 9 column wise and then row wise. And the operation is multiplication modulo 10. So you just multiply all the elements with 1. So 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 3 is 3, 1 into 7 is 7, 1 into 9 is 9. Then multiply all of them with 3. 3 into 1 is 3, 3 is a 9. So this is less than 10, so this will be same. 3 sevens are 21, so this is greater than 10. So 21 under modulo 10 will be 1. So if you divide 21 by 10, then the remainder will be 1. So this is 1. Then 3 nines are 27. So 27 under modulo 10 will be 7. Now 7 into 1 is 7. 7 threes are 21, which is again 1 under modulo 10. 7 sevens are 49, which is 9 under modulo 10. Then 7 nines are 63, which is 3 under modulo 10. Now here 9 is a 9 and 9 3 is a 27, which is congruent to 7 modulo 10. Then 9 7 is a 63, which is congruent to 3 modulo 10. And here 9 9 is a 81, which is congruent to 1 modulo 10. So from this table, it is clear that all these numbers which we are getting after the operation of multiplication modulo 10, they are within this set only. 1, 3, 7, 9, they all are in the set. We are not going out of the set. So this operation multiplication modulo 10 is closed. So this set is closed under this operation. Basically we have to say like that. From this table also what we can see that 1 is the identity element, because if you multiply 1 with any other element, we are getting the same element. So 1 is identity element. And if you want to find the inverse of an element, then inverse of 1 is 1, inverse of 3 is 7, because 3 into 7 is giving you 1. So they are inverses of each other. So inverse of 7 is 3, inverse of 9 is 9. So basically from this table we can see that this set U10 forms a group under multiplication modulo 10. And when n is a prime number, then UN will be all the numbers from 1 to n minus 1, because all the numbers from 1 to n minus 1, they will be relatively prime to n. So UN is 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1. And UN are the most important examples of finite abelian groups that you will see, that they are really interesting examples of abelian groups, finite abelian groups. Next is this example here, the set 0, 1, 2, 3 under multiplication modulo 4 is not a group. So this set 0, 1, 2, 3. So basically this is Z4. So Z4 is 0 to 4 minus 1, 0 to 3. So this set under, but this is, the operation is not addition modulo n. Here, so we cannot say that this is Z4. Simply, that's why we are taking simply the set with these four elements 0, 1, 2, 3, these four numbers, and the operation is multiplication modulo 4. So let us check that this set under multiplication modulo 4 is a group or not. So we are saying that it is not a group. Why it is not a group? Because 0 and 2, they do not have their inverses in this set. So if you are able to find the inverses of all the elements within the set, then we say that it is a group. But here you cannot find the inverse of 0 and 2. So this set is not a group. Next is 15. The set of integers under subtraction is not a group, because subtraction, that operation is not associative. So this set of integers under subtraction cannot be a group. This is an important example of special linear group over R. R is the set of real numbers and it is denoted by SL2R. So what is SL2R? SL2R is the set of all 2 cross 2 matrices with real entries and determinant 1, as we have already seen an example of general linear group. In my previous lecture, I gave you an example of general linear group GL2R, where we had taken all the 2 cross 2 matrices with real entries and non-zero determinant. So here the determinant is 1. So this set is denoted by SL2R. So this is basically a subset of GL2R. So from example 11 of GL2R, we can prove here also that SL2R is a group because the condition of non-zero determinant is given here. Non-zero determinant, so because the determinant is 1, so basically it is non-zero. So this is the condition which was given in GL2R of non-zero determinant is satisfied here also. So from that example we can show that this SL2R is also a group. So in a similar way this can be proved, and here the inverse of the matrix, this 2 by 2 matrix ABCD would be this DA minus B minus C, because the determinant is 1, so dividing by 1 will not change this. So this is the group denoted by SL2R. Next example is this SL2F. So here why we are writing F? So F is denoting here the field of scalars. So here we were taking the set R, the set of real numbers, SL2R. The entries of the matrices are coming from the real numbers. So here this is a general example. Here we are taking F. So F can be the set of rational numbers. That means the entries of those matrices, they can be rational numbers or they can be real numbers. Then it will be SL2R. If the sets, if we are taking rational numbers, then that will be SL2Q. If they are complex numbers, then this will be SL2C. And if the entries of matrices are coming from the set of integers modulo P, then that will be SL2ZP. So this is just a notation of special linear group over a field F. So here field can be any of these. Now this is a particular example of this thing where the entries are coming from ZP, the set of integers modulo P, where P is a prime number. Then we do all the calculations like calculating determinant, finding matrix product, inverses. All the calculations has to be done in modulo P arithmetic, because in ZP you have to do all the calculations under modulo P. For example, if I'm taking Z5, then Z5 will have these numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in SL2Z5, all the entries of matrices will come from Z5 only. So consider this matrix A, 3, 4, 4, 4. So you can verify that the determinant is non-zero. So 3 4 is 12 minus 4 4 is 16. 12 minus 16 is non-zero. So 12 minus 16 is minus 4, and minus 4 is congruent to 1 modulo 5. So determinant is 1. So in SL2R, determinant was 1. That condition is satisfied. That means the matrix A is in this set. And inverse of A, what will be the inverse of this matrix? A. The inverse of this matrix will be this. So for inverse, what we are doing, we are just changing the place of these numbers. 4 will be here, 3 will be here, and then these two numbers will be negative. But under modulo 5, minus 4 will be 1. So this will be 4 1 1 3, and you can easily verify that if I multiply the given matrix with this inverse, then you will get the identity matrix. And as this SL2ZP is a group, if the entries are coming from this set ZP, then it forms a group. Now, similarly, we can talk about GL2F also. Like we have seen GL2R, there the entries were coming from the set of real numbers. So in general, I can take any of these fields, the set of rational numbers, set of real numbers. The entries can come from complex numbers or from ZP also. So in general, it is denoted by GL2F. So what will be the GL2F? GL2F is the set of all 2 cross 2 matrices with non-zero determinant and entries from any of these fields. So that is your GL2F. This set 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1, this is a group. under multiplication modulo n if and only if n is a prime. So this is a group, then n should be prime, and if n is a prime, then this set is a group. That you should remember. Next, so until now we have seen different examples where we have seen the existence of identity element. The set which is a group, then there has to be an identity element. But we have observed that there was one identity element from Kelly's table, different Kelly's table of different examples. We have seen that identity element, there is only one identity element. But now in this theorem we are going to prove that uniqueness of identity. So there can be only one identity element. In a group G, there is only one identity element. Let us prove this. So on the contrary, suppose that there are two identity elements, E and E dash. So what is the property of identity element? You multiply the identity element with any other element, then you will get the same element. So because E and E dash both are identity elements, so A into E will be A. If here I am multiplying identity on the right, and E dash is also the identity, so E dash into A will be A. So both of these are true for all A in G. So if A E is equal to A for all A, it is true for every A, then it is true for E dash also. So I can write E dash into E is equal to A is equal to E dash, and the second statement E dash is into A is A for all A. So this is true for E also. That means E dash into E is E. So we get these two things, E dash into is E dash and E dash into is E. Now in both of these, left hand side is same, that means E dash should be equal to E. So which we have, suppose that E and E dash are two identities, and here we have proved that they both are equal, and hence there is only one identity element in the group. So we can talk about the identity. Simply not the identity, we should write it the identity element, because that is unique. Next property is this cancellation law. So in groups you have left cancellation as well as right cancellation. Let us see this. In a group G, the right and left cancellation laws hold. That is, if BA is equal to CA, then A can be cancelled on both the sides and you will get B is equal to C. This is called right cancellation. And if AB is equal to AC, then this A on the left hand side, that can be cancelled and you will get B is equal to C. This is left cancellation. Let us prove it using the known properties of the group. So we are proving first one, the right cancellation. So let BA is equal to CA. Now, because this G is a group and ABC are elements of G. So, since G is a group, so it has inverse of all its elements. So inverse of A also exists. Suppose that A dash is the inverse of A. Now what we are doing, we are multiplying this equation by A dash, multiplying on the right hand side. So BA into A dash is equal to CA into A dash. Now by associativity, using associativity, I can write it as B into A dash, and this is equal to C into A dash by associativity. Now because A dash is the inverse of A, so if I multiply inverse with the element, then you will get the identity element. So B into E is equal to C into E, B is equal to CE, because A dash is identity. Now, because E is identity element never changes any element. So BE is B and CE is C. So this implies that B is equal to C. So this we wanted to prove. BA is equal to C implies B is equal to C. Similarly, you can prove left cancellation also. So suppose that AB is equal to AC, and suppose that A dash is the inverse of A. Now you multiply by A dash on the left hand side, then you will get this. Then again by associativity, A dash into A, that take them together, A dash A into B is equal to A dash A into C. Now A dash into A, this is your identity. So EB is equal to EC, and EB is equal to B, EC is equal to C. So from here B is equal to C. So we have proved right cancellation and left cancellation. So cancellation property holds in groups. Next is this important theorem. Here we have to see the uniqueness of inverses. So every element in a group G has its unique inverse. So we will not find two inverses for a single element. we have to prove it. So for each element A in a group G, there is a unique element B in G such that AB is equal to BA is giving you the identity element. So suppose that an element A has two inverses B and C. So if B is inverse of A, that means AB is equal to BA is equal to identity. And if C is also the inverse of A, that means AC is equal to CA is equal to identity. So from here, you can write AB is equal to AC because both are is equal to E. So AB is equal to AC. Then by left cancellation, which we have just proved, by left cancellation, A can be cancelled and you will get B is equal to C. So what is your B and C? B and C were the inverses of A, and here you have shown that B is equal to C. That means A has a unique inverse. So uniqueness is proved here. So in this lecture, we have seen a few examples, many examples we have seen in my previous lecture. Here I have considered the GL2F, SL2F, GL2R, SL2R, and UN. So those were the examples. Then we have seen these properties like uniqueness of identity, uniqueness of inverse, and cancellation loss that we have proved. All these results, they have been referred from this book, Joseph A. Gallian, Contemporary Abstract Algebra, 4th edition, chapter 2. So chapter 2 has all these results or groups. You can go through that chapter to know more about the groups. So in my next video, we are going to see some more results on groups. So hope you like it. If you like all these videos, you can subscribe and share my channel. Thank you.